let's bring it on to one of the biggest hamstring injury stories at the moment, and it is Cristian Romero of Tottenham. Timeline is a little bit different from usual, Ben. It's protracted. You said that it's usually about 28 days return time. Why is this one a bit longer than usual?
Yeah, I mean, as with every injury, Jason, it comes down to severity. And, when we're talking about the hamstring, it also depends on the mechanism of injury, how that injury actually occurred. And that gives you some kind of indication about where and what is actually occurring within the hamstring, whether it's actually affecting the muscle or maybe the tendon. If it tends to be the tendon, then, we're looking at a little bit more of a complex injury, and therefore you're at the longer scale of return to play. If it's the muscle, then these tend to be graded, from a grade 1, 2 to 3. I touched upon Harry Kane earlier. He suffered a grade 3, which is classed as 75% plus of that muscle fiber damage, total rupture, and inherently that requires a surgical intervention. Now, surgical intervention will put you way beyond that 3 to 4 month period. I think it was around about maybe 156 to 160 days for Kane. What we know or what we understand with Romero, it's high-end grade 2. So my understanding is that he doesn't need surgery. It will be treated conservatively, so non-surgical treatment. And Antonio, we'll see how it progresses. One of the big things, there's some talk or some research papers that will suggest that it's a 1 in 3 recurrence rate. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to, put your player under any pressure in terms of, putting that return to play in sand, and writing it down there. It takes as long as it takes. Different players respond in different ways, and the body adapts. So, fingers crossed, we could be looking at sometime in January. But if that stretches, beyond into February, then don't be too surprised.
And the interesting thing for me is almost what you've said there about the injury to Romero is not rushing him back. Time is almost the biggest asset in this one. Maybe kind of like what we said similarly with ACL injuries. But looking at Romero, he is the archetypal Conte centre-back. He is, so important to that system. And maybe, we have seen Tottenham win fairly comprehensively since this injury, but he's so good and he does all the things that Conte wants from his centre-backs. What's interesting to me is, he has the most pressures of anybody in the team in terms of career averages, in terms of maybe passing. He's as good as, or maybe worse in terms of short, medium and long passing compared to other teammates. But the interesting thing is nobody else in the team kind of combines all the abilities that one would look for in the centre-back, plus the extras that Conte will be looking for. So he's a massive loss. And it will be interesting to see how the Conte revolution of that Tottenham team, however you want to dub it, will continue in his absence. When I talk to Chris Miller, please do check out that podcast as well. We go into Tottenham under Conte, the tactics, what you can expect from them. He said the best centre-back that Tottenham could buy in January would be a left-footed Cristian Romero, and it just kind of shows how important he is to the team. So for you, Ben, when do you see him coming back? What has Conte said? And maybe who's going to step in, do you think, into that position?
Yeah, it's interesting, that Tottenham backline. I mean, as a Eric Dyer owner, it's good news. He looks to be one of the positions that locked in, and also Ben Davies. He's come from nowhere. He seemed to have slipped down the pecking order under Nuno. And the other position potentially up for grabs, although Davison Sanchez has that nailed down, but it had been between him and Japhet Tenganga. So those are the 4 players currently vying for those 3 places. With regards to a potential return, like I say, Antonio Conte wouldn't be held down. I mean, we are looking 2022. So we can write off December in the first instance. And just given the fact that we now have a winter break, there's the FA Cup involvement, to me, it doesn't make any sense to involve him in any of those games unnecessarily. So we could be looking maybe towards the back end of January, fingers crossed that, without any major setbacks along the way.
And even as an Arsenal fan, when I talk to Chris Miller, I wish the Tottenham players well. No kind of massive rivalry and anger towards them there. But I hope people enjoyed this in-depth analysis. This is what we like to do here on the channel. So do subscribe, do like the video, do share it, comment below. If you've got any questions, any areas that you want us to deep dive with the data again, we are more than happy to. That is what we're here for, to cut through rumor, misinformation, and just give you the best kind of analysis. But for now, I'm going to wish you the best of luck with your game weeks. I'm going to wish you the best of luck with this festive period as well, because we're going to get a little bit Christmassy soon as well. But for now, a goodbye from us.